Welcome back inside the Foxwoods Resort and Casino. It is time for our main event in the heavyweight division. Alexis Santos taking on Niall Kennedy. Just one loss between these two heavyweights. This promises to be a slugfest. Let's take a look at the tail of the tape. Of course, the records jump out, but so much the size. These are two smaller heavyweights, but we know these guys can move around the ring.
I mean, you've got 221, 224 pounds. I mean, they're small, but that's still not small. These are big guys. Both have power. You have natural power at that weight. Everybody's got power at that weight. Alexis Santos, very good fighter. He has that one defeat, but he showed something tremendous in coming back from it. So these guys are very evenly matched, I think, overall.
A true crossroads fight, and in the heavyweight division, it doesn't get much better than this. Let's send it up to our ring announcer, David Diamante, for the official introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, good evening and welcome to Foxwoods Resort Casino here in beautiful Mashantucket, Connecticut for the Broadway Boxing featured bout of the evening. It's all being brought to you courtesy of Lou DiBella's DiBella Entertainment in association with Murphy's Boxing. Sponsored by Nissan of Queens, Optics, Azad Watches, and Cristo Steakhouse. This bout is sanctioned by the Mashantucket Pequot Athletic Commission, Chairman George Henningsen, Vice Chairman Kenneth Reels, Commissioner Tanya Dames. Introducing your three judges scoring this contest from ringside: Dick Flaherty, Bob Paolino, and Eddie Scunzio. And at the sound of the bell, your third man in the ring will be Al Lobianco. And now, ladies and gentlemen, 10 rounds of boxing scheduled for the New England Heavyweight Championship. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, he wears green, white, and orange. He weighed in at a mere 224 pounds. His professional record, a perfect one. 8 fights, 8 victories, 5 of them coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, he is the 7-time Irish National Amateur Champion and the current Massachusetts Heavyweight State Champion. Hailing from Wexford, Ireland, please welcome Niall Boom Boom Kennedy. And his opponent across the ring fighting out of the red corner. He wears the solid black trunks. He tipped the scales at 221 pounds. His professional record, an excellent one. 18 victories, only 1 defeat. He has 15 big wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, the fighting pride of Lawrence, Massachusetts, the reigning, defending New England heavyweight champion, Alexis Santos.
I want you to protect yourself at all times. Now shake hands, good luck to both of you.
10 rounds in the heavyweight division with the New England heavyweight title on the line. Alexis Santos and Niall Kennedy. Niall Kennedy 8-0, Alexis Santos just 1 loss paired with his 18 professional victories. 15 knockouts. This one could end in an instant. Round 1, scheduled for 10. Now Kennedy in the white trunks, trimmed in the Irish green. Alexis Santos in the black trunks.
The first thing that jumps out at me, Alexis is a big, strong kid, but he actually looks kind of small here compared to the Irishman from where I'm sitting. I'm kind of surprised, but he looks physically almost as strong, I would say.
Santos the first to attack, digs down to the body. Now Kennedy, a guy who had a lengthy amateur career, although he admits it wasn't all that distinguished. He said, people laughed when I turned pro, but I don't think they're laughing right now. He's 8-0 and he's in a main event here in the United States.
He looks like he has some ability. He's got a pretty good jab, pretty strong jab. And they've both taken a tough fight. You have to say that. At this point in their careers, they've both taken a tough fight. They've both stepped up to the plate.
Good uppercut there from Kennedy. I think it was caught on the glove slightly by Santos. It's definitely something Santos has to be aware of. It looks like he wants to kind of ambush Kennedy. He wants to jump in. He has to be careful not to get caught with a well-timed uppercut. Right,
well, I was just going to say, the uppercut from Kennedy looks very sharp. He gets a lot of leverage into it.
Should be noted, too, that Santos' 1 loss technically was a stoppage loss, but because he tore his ACL in the middle of a fight that he was otherwise winning. So in his mind, he's never been in the ring with a man who's truly beaten.
Right. And that's all that matters mentally for him. What he thinks is what he carries into the ring with him.
About a minute of the opening frame here. There hasn't been a whole lot of a feeling out process here, John. Both guys have definitely committed to some heavy shots early in this fight.
Yeah, well, I was thinking for 2 big guys, for heavyweights, so early in a fight, it's an active round. I mean, it's active, more active than some middleweights put in. So they're definitely getting to work. I think it's going to be, they're going to loosen up in a couple rounds. It's going to be a very entertaining round.
Combination. Finishes the combination with the jab. Rough stuff there, but now Kennedy, the former Gaelic football player, he knows how to defend against a tackle.
I'd like to see Kennedy with a snappier jab. There you go. With that kind of height, sometimes boxing isn't that hard. You know, you only need a little bit of experience to figure it out. And a guy like that, a good jab go a long way.
That was a right hand after the bell from Alexis Santos, a little bit late, but I think he started that shot prior to the bell. Take a look at some of the action from round 1. Santos trying to swarm Kennedy in the early going.
Like I say, it was a nice, fast-paced round. Kennedy's digging the body. I think it might go unnoticed by some people, but I think he's a good body puncher. He's sneaking in some very good shots there.
In the corner of Alexis Santos. He's now a full-time fighter. He's working as a youth mentor. Now completely committing himself to the sport of boxing. And, you know, that's a big thing when you're climbing the ladder, to be able to completely dedicate yourself to the sport, not have to punch the clock. You could just go to the gym and focus on that.
Well, unlike other sports, NFL, Major League, those guys, that's what they do. You'd be surprised how many good fighters, well-known fighters, actually have to work jobs to supplement their income. I think people would be very surprised if they knew.
Victory for either one of these men will go a long way to making their life a whole lot more comfortable as round 2 begins. Now Kennedy, we mentioned his football background as well, but he's also a police officer back home in Ireland. But again, both of these guys want to be full-time professional heavyweights, and if you win a regional title like this, as you know, John, that goes a long way to propelling your career.
Sure. I mean, exposure, especially we're in the internet age, the technology age, the exposure, reaching people, getting your name out there, and any kind of championship and any kind of television exposure is going to go a long way towards that. So this is a big fight. This is a very big fight for each guy.
We saw Kennedy land a couple snappy jabs at the end of round 1. We haven't seen him go back to that quite yet, but there's Santos landing a good shot. Oh, he might have buckled Kennedy. Kennedy's firing back to the body.
I think Kennedy may have hurt him a little bit.
Both men hurt in a span of 5 seconds.
You're not going to see too many exchanges like that, even at the upper echelon with the heavyweights. Those guys were letting their hands go.
Well, what you got to like about both these guys is when something lands on them, they want to reply with hard stuff. It's the kind of mentality that fans like, and frankly, that's the reason they're in the main event here tonight. Minute and a half remaining in round 2.
See, now there, when Kennedy, it's very, it's very simple, but the way he digs that jab out there, he snaps it out there, he should be doing that constantly. It should be a constant thing. He should keep his distance. Obviously, Santos being on the inside is going to benefit him in the long run, benefit Santos. So we need the jab from the big man.
Well, Santos really isn't jabbing his way in either, so for Kennedy, if he can just keep the jab active, he might be able to keep Santos at bay.
Because people need to realize it's not necessarily being exciting, it's about winning, how to beat that particular man. Sometimes it's exciting, sometimes it's not. You've got to choose the strategy to win. And doubling up on the jab and keeping the distance with it would be beneficial for Kennedy.
The right hands land for Kennedy as Santos using the perimeter of the ring here in round 2. 30 seconds in round 2. There's that body work from Kennedy once again.
I think he's a sneaky body puncher. I don't think you'd think of him as a body puncher because of his height, but I notice he's dropping in some very sneaky shots.
Well, they're starting to become more and more apparent because they're landing flush. Santos is going to have to compensate.
A simple jab like that, he's keeping him out. That's the point of the jab.
The jab as well, opening up those lanes for the body shots. They're bringing the hands up. That was a good round for Niall Kennedy. First round tough to score, but the second round I think you have to give to the Irishman.
I'd like to point out in the corner of Kennedy is Packy Collins, the brother of former WBO super middleweight champion and middleweight champion Stevie Collins, from who boxed for a time out of the Petronelli brothers in Brockton, Massachusetts.
Back to that in a moment, but let's look at some of the good work from his pupil, Niall Kennedy, as he got back to the jab and went back downstairs.
I mean, both guys are really going at it. I mean, that was a good exchange. But look at that. Look at that body work. You don't see many big men. Look, he did it again. Both guys to the body. You don't see a lot of heavyweights you wouldn't say they're known for their body work. These two guys are committing to it tonight.
Coach is out! Coach is out!
Now Kennedy, perhaps starting to gain control of this fight as we enter round 3. This 10-round main event, Foxwoods Resort Casino. Corey Erdman and the Iceman, John Scully here ringside. You mentioned the corner of Niall Kennedy, Packy Collins. You're very familiar with Steve Collins. You sparred with him. What does the Collins family bring to the table? What are they trying to impart upon Niall Kennedy?
Well, I'll tell you one thing, I believe. Certain countries, Mexico, England, Ireland, being among them, having someone from the family of Steve Collins in an Irish fighter's corner is a pride type of thing. There's a pride there. And, you know, maybe more so than the United States. The United States has so many people, it's so big. It's lesser, it's diluted a little bit. But in Ireland, Stevie's a huge name. His brothers, by association, is a huge name. So I think it's a very beneficial department to have in this corner.
Santos starting to pick up the tempo a little bit here. Trying to bob and weave his way to the inside, trying to get past that jab and work the body of Kennedy. Really trying to do what Kennedy's doing to him right now. There he goes, there he replies. The good left hook downstairs, but Kennedy fires back.
The best thing Kennedy could have done, he did. He came right back. That's how you have to offset it in the judge's eyes. He did a great thing there. Nice body work. I'm very impressed with Kennedy's body work.
At the same time, Santos starting to inch a little bit closer, but you're right, when he gets in there, he pays the price.
A lot of times you don't associate big, tall heavyweights with body work. And I think Santos might be a little surprised by that. He's doing it again. Kennedy's looking for openings with the body.
That was a shot a little bit late on the break. The referee gives him a look, but did not warn him. Santos now trying to work behind his jab. Santos kind of working in spots in this round. He's applying pressure early, now back to the outside. Do you think this is a strategy, John, or is he trying to maybe just take a little bit of a breather?
I think he's having a little bit of difficulty with that long jab. It, you know, sometimes it looks easier from outside the ring, but when you're in there and that jab is long punches, it makes it feel like the opponent is really far away. Like we can see that they're right next to each other, but being in there, it seems like the guy is really far away, and so you hesitate because you don't want to jump in and get caught by something in the middle of that.
There we saw Santos have an opportunity on the inside, didn't really capitalize on it. And Kennedy bent over at the waist on the inside.
If it stays like this, it's going to come to a point where Santos is going to have to go out of his comfort zone. He's going to have to push it and try and make it a physical fight, or else he may not be close enough to succeed.
A couple late shots there from both fighters, but they apologize and retreat to their respective corners. Corner of Niall Kennedy. Very collected right now. We'll take a look at some of the action from round 3. Here you see Santos on the inside. There's Kennedy's body work and that jab. They're dictating the tempo right now.
Body work, there's good body shots. I'm impressed with the big man's body punching. And he keeps his hands up pretty well. He's kind of offsetting Santos a little bit. In the beginning, it was a little bit shaky, but I think he feels a little bit more comfortable right at this moment than Santos does.
Round 4 begins. 10 rounds for the New England heavyweight title. Now Kennedy said he went to IKEA and he bought a mantelpiece where this belt will sit. Already predicting victory. Of course, you have to think that coming into a fight. You have to believe that you're going to be the one that leaves with that title.
You've got to be confident. If you're not, I always tell guys, if you don't believe you're going to win, then you shouldn't even fight. There's no reason. It's not that kind of sport.
Good combination there from Kennedy. Gets back out to the outside. Santos looking a little bit more desperate in this round. Looking like there's a sense of urgency.
Right. And that's what it is. I mean, fights aren't 20 rounds long. You know, they don't last that long. They go by fast. And when you're dealt in an unusual style, a difficult style, urgency is sometimes the best thing.
That's a good defense there.
Good
Kennedy
body.
gets out of the way. Kennedy has to be careful. There have been a couple times that he's been looking over at the referee in the middle of action.
Yeah, I don't know why he does that. They're both good body punches. I'm impressed with that with two big guys. They're digging the body good. Kennedy is starting to get the gap closed on him a little bit. I think he needs to go to that jab. The key to victory would be the jab. Like that.
This is where the experience of Alexis Santos maybe starts to come into play. I mean, Santos can maybe make the argument that he's fought someone as good as Niall Kennedy. Niall Kennedy has never stepped up this far before.
Exactly. It's a rough type of fight right now. Conditioning may be a factor, maybe a huge factor. I mean, 10 rounds is a long time for big men to be on the inside, digging shots and trading big shots with abandon like they tend to do at least once a round here. So we're going to look at those body shots. I mean, don't underestimate the body shots. Those take the toll.
Kennedy still doing some great work, landing to the body, but also upper body movement of his own. You don't see that a lot in heavyweights, guys that are as mobile as Kennedy.
Right. Yeah, he actually, I'll tell you, he surprised me with the body shots, and he surprised me with his mobility for such a big man. You never judge a book by its cover because sometimes you'll be wrong.
10 seconds of round 4. Santos digs back. There's a clubbing right hand. Starting to get some of the momentum back, and the crowd here for Santos is getting into it as well. Now it's time for Niall Kennedy to have to make adjustments that he hasn't had to make before, as the momentum swings back and forth here in our main event. His trainer, Packy Collins, has certainly seen it all before. They have world titles in the family, and they add a Massachusetts title to the mantle here tonight.
I think what we need to look for, Kennedy needs, because the fight is heating up. Adrenaline is really flowing now. Now with your height, you wanna nullify that with Santos. You can't fall into Santos' realm right now, because I think that would be to Santos' advantage. We've got to have, Kennedy needs to get back on the jab, get at the distance.
Well, as round 5 begins, I know you like to point out body language, and if it means anything, Santos was off his stool well before those 30 seconds were over. Kennedy stayed down. It looks like Santos thinks he has something here.
That's a good call. That's a very good call. That's the little things I'm talking about. Little details like that. Somebody getting off the stool ahead of time. That's indicative of how they feel. I think Santos feels something between the two of them that we don't see.
He's feeling admonishment from the referee right now. I think he's being warned for shots that are low. That looked very borderline to me. So that's an official warning. One more, and theoretically, he would be docked a point. And in a close fight like this, you definitely cannot afford that.
Pins and needles now. I can't afford a point in this fight.
How does a fighter react to that? If you know you're just one low blow away from a point being deducted, but you also know you're doing some great body work.
Right, it's a tough spot because some guys will just literally abandon the body work. They don't want to risk the point, and so they'll just go for the headshots. Some guys can't help it. Oh, good shot.
Good right hand. Alexis Santos just mugging Niall Kennedy right now. Some of this work isn't pretty, but he is just pushing Kennedy around on the inside.
Right. His strength is starting to show through. Conditioning might be a factor. Mental conditioning, having that experience in number of fights over Kennedy might be a factor. And I notice now Kennedy's still throwing the body shots, but he doesn't have the same snap as he did even a minute ago.
Santos starting to talk to him, starting to make faces at his opponent. And sometimes that means that shot hurt, but I think in this case, it means that Santos is riding a wave of confidence.
Exactly. I think body language means a lot to me as a boxer and as a coach and as just an observer. And I think that Santos really feels good right now. I think he feels really motivated. And even him getting off the stool early was a huge indication of that.
45 seconds remain in the 5th frame here. Santos just trying to chop down Niall Kennedy. Just looked like he wanted to step around with the left hook there. Thought better of it. Here's a good shot to the body. That was what he was looking for a moment ago. He found the lane for it.
It's a good fight. I have to say, I'm going to tell the winner after the fight that you beat a good fighter. Whoever wins, they beat a good fighter. They beat this is a tough fight, a very game. Both guys are game. Good skills. Good professionalism.
Good round for Alexis Santos. Kennedy still firing back, but Santos by far the fresher man right now.
Well, and you see at the end of the round, he didn't want to go back to the corner right away. He wanted to stay there and make faces. You know, he feels good, and that's a huge plus for him. His adrenaline is skyrocketing. It's soaring right now, and I don't think that's the case in the other corner. And you can see, for the first time between rounds, Kennedy looked down. Normally he doesn't look down, but that time he actually had to look down to take a little break.
Here's why he might be looking down. See some of the action from Santos in that round. He was warned for the low blow, but didn't seem to get in his head whatsoever.
I mean, this is a rugged fight. This is a real fight. That's what I call a real fight. This is real. This is a good fight. You got to give both guys credit for taking a fight like this at this point in their careers. There's easier roads to take.
Stay on.
Round 6 begins. We enter the second half of our main event, and if the momentum is swinging in Santos' favor, and if the gas tank of Kennedy is starting to drain, this is where that will really start to shine through. Good ramrod jab there from Santos. And that's an indication that Kennedy's starting to tire as well, because those jabs were not landing early in the fight. The upper body movement, the head movement was there from Kennedy. It seems to be diminishing here in the 6th.
Right. Slowly, now, I'm not saying it's going to stay like this, but as of right now, things seem to be unraveling a little bit for Kennedy. And Santos certainly is on a mental high right now. You can see the look on his face. You can see the fluidity of his punches.
Switch southpaw there for a moment, and sometimes maybe you try that if things aren't going your way, but in Santos's case, I think he's feeling loose in that.
Right, and I think throughout his career, I think he's done that at different points. I sparred with him several years ago, and he switched into sparring. So I don't think that's necessarily a new thing, or he's doing it out of confusion or anything. I think he feels good. I think he feels great in there.
As you look at Santos here tonight, as the momentum continues to go in his favor, the way he's looking right now, how does he compare to the guy that you sparred years ago?
He's more experienced. I sparred with him about 5 years ago, let's say. He was good. He was very strong then. Now he seems a little bit more disciplined. Staying behind his jab and looking for openings. Back then, I think he kind of tried to open up more and without really thinking of where the punches were going. But he's developed his professional game at this point. At that point, I think he had 1 or 2 pro fights, where now he has several.
Inside the final minute of the 6th round. One thing he said leading up to this fight that he was working on was just his patience, knowing when to expend energy in each and every round, and I think he's doing a great job of that right now. It's not non-stop pressure. He's not wearing himself out. He's picking his spots, and he seems to be picking them at the right time. Good right hand there.
Well, I'm going to tell you something funny that you mentioned that. When we sparred the first time, he came out like gangbusters early on, and we talked about that. And I said, I let you wear down a little bit. And so, yeah, I'm not surprised he said that, because that's all part of the process of becoming a good pro.
His time to exert some energy seems like it's right now.
Yes.
I think he's starting to get to Kennedy. Kennedy starting to feel the effects of these big hooks from Santos. Nice jab from Santos, rocks Kennedy back.
I would say fatigue is a huge factor for Kennedy at this moment.
The right hand at the bell, but otherwise, that was all Alexis Santos in the 6th round.
That's a big round. He looks good. And if you notice at the end of the round, Kennedy shook his head like, you know, good round, good round. I don't like that. Like, as my experience in boxing, I always say, would you see Marvin Hagler do that? No, he would not. You know, would you see Muhammad Ali do that? No, he would not. So I don't like that. That's a sign that maybe he's resigned a little bit to being fatigued.
See some of the work from Santos here.
Good body shots.
And frankly, John, right now, he seems to just be outworking Niall Kennedy. This is out-hustling your opponent.
Right, I'll tell you this much. Kennedy's slipping in some nice shots, but one shot doesn't trump 5 shots on a judge's scorecard. It just doesn't happen that way. He started out good the first few rounds, but I think fatigue is becoming a factor now. The sign of a fighter is to be able to fight tired. And I always say, this is my motto: if you can't fight tired, then you can't fight.
The 7th round begins. Again, if we're looking at the race off the stool, Santos was ready. Kennedy and his corner took a little extra time getting their fighter out there.
He's still committing to the body, but he's forced to push his punches. It's like he's doing it because he knows he has to. That's a sign to look for. Santos might actually be a little tired, though. I think he may be taking a little bit of breather also. That's the ebb and flow of a tough professional fight. So many things come into play.
That's the ebb and flow of heavyweight boxing, too. And,
yes, sir.
You know, one of these shots, maybe if it doesn't look like a concussive blow, can change the fight and alter the momentum. And Kennedy having a nice little stretch here in the opening round. Lands a nice left hook on Santos.
I think that's a good body shot. You don't count those body shots out. Those are some beautiful body shots he just put on Santos.
Well, and Kennedy is doing the same things he was doing early in the fight.
Right.
They have slowed down a little bit, but he's continued to do them. And Santos, if he starts to wear out, some of these will start to become effective again.
We're seeing that right now. Santos spent the last 2 rounds on a high, and now it's almost like the bottom dropped down. You can see the look on his face, like he can't believe it. So I think he's gonna need a recovery here. He's probably gonna there he goes. He's probably gonna put his hands up and let Kennedy waste some punches for a little while.
Santos definitely took a deep breath just a moment ago, and understandably, these are 2 big men throwing a lot of leather over 7 rounds. Kennedy lands that right hand over the top.
Kennedy's coming back. This is his round to take back the momentum and on the scorecards.
This is one of those rounds, John, where if your opponent is going to give it away, so to speak, if Santos is going to take a breather, Kennedy might as well take what he's given. Just take those rounds, put them in the bank.
No, that's what I'm saying. He should, if his opponent wants to wait back, take it to him. Take it to him. You got to make it, because you get the crowd behind you again. You get the judges behind you again. It's visual. It's not just what actually happens, but it's what the perception is.
Right hand down the pipe, hits some glove of Santos. But again, as you pointed out, visually, he's throwing big shots. Santos isn't replying at the moment.
They've reversed roles, I think.
Final 15 seconds of round 7. Santos replies with the left hook. Just when we think he might be fading, he fires back with a good shot of his own. Excellent action right to the bell.
I'm gonna tell you something else though I noticed that's may go under the radar a bit. When Santos puts his hands up, Kennedy tries to pull his hand down and hit him. Very, very strategic move. Good jab, good right hand. He's punching long range. There you go. Good body shots. Kennedy is back in this fight. As of this round, he's back in the fight.
just when we thought this fight was getting away from Niall Kennedy. Now we've got 3 rounds to go with the regional title on the line.
And again, as I was saying, keep in mind, if Santos is tired, you're going to see Kennedy pull his hand down. When Santos tries to cover up, he's going to pull his hand down and sneak the shot in. It's a beautiful move.
Round 8. Now Kennedy came on strong in the 7th round. After a barrage from Santos in round 6. See if the pendulum could swing back the other way here in the 8th round.
He tried it right there. He tried to knock it down. See? Beautiful move. See, now with the jab, that's his key. Staying at a distance and pumping that jab hard. When you're that long, it's like a ramrod. You've got to pump it in there. There you go.
1-2 there from Kennedy. We talked about this earlier as well, the different variations of the jabs. You can throw it hard all the time, and eventually your opponent will catch on.
Right.
What Kennedy's doing, as you pointed out, taking the hand down, laying the jab out there, but not throwing it hard every single time. That was a good jab from Santos.
Yeah, that was a power jab. Yeah, there's different kind of jabs. Like you have to, once your opponent gets your timing down, you have to adjust it. You have to jab higher, you have to jab lower, you have to jab at different speeds. Now Santos isn't extremely effective, but he looks like he's gotten his motivation back, which could win him the round if he can keep this up. Good body work by the big man, though. Good body work.
Both men get to the inside, push off, get back out at range. Again, it's exhausting when you're 225 and laying on one another to work on the inside like that. These guys have done it a lot.
Being that big, it's exhausting throwing the punches, but it's also exhausting hitting something that big. Landing the punch on a bigger target takes more out of it. And again, Kennedy with the body shots, he's really sneaking them in. I think, I'll tell you this much, win, lose, or draw, Santos is going to be sore tomorrow on his midsection.
And win, lose, or draw, I think both these fighters have a lot to build off of. This is definitely not a career ender for either of these young heavyweights.
As long as they stay like this and nobody gets knocked out dramatically, each guy is going to benefit from this fight. As long as whoever loses can deal with a loss.
Good jab there from Santos. Just misses with that big right hand.
I'd like to see Santos a right hand to the chest. Instead of trying to reach that chin that's so far away sometimes, throw the right hand right to the chest, disrupt the blood flow to the heart.
He's done a good job of throwing that left hook to the chest when he's on the inside, but you're right. He's been aiming that right hand a little bit high.
Right. I like it, though. This is a good fight. This is definitely a good fight.
Main event caliber stuff here at the Foxwoods Resort Casino. Corey Erdman and the Iceman John Scully pleased to be here at ringside calling this one. Alexis Santos, Niall Kennedy going at it for 8 rounds so far, just 2 to go. This is somewhere Kennedy's never been forced to be as a professional in these 9th and 10th rounds. We'll look at some of the replays. There was that move you were talking about, that left hand.
Oh, beautiful move, beautiful move. But the jab, look at that jab. This is especially when you realize it more when you see the replays of the key moments. This is a very good fight. Very good fight. Whoever loses is going to have lost to a good fighter.
So round 9, just 2 rounds to go in our main event. Boy, a tough one to call right now. I mean, almost every round could have gone either way. I think there were some rounds in the middle. 2 rounds were very clear for Santos, but the rest of them are almost all swing rounds.
Yeah, oh, for sure. It's that kind of fight. There was a moment there, a couple moments in a couple rounds when it looked like Santos was definitely taking over. The tide was turning. Kennedy has turned it back. They're back up in the air again. I don't know who's going to do what here.
Crowd chanting Santos. See if the Irish contingent here in Connecticut can battle back. Try and breathe some life into their fighter.
The big man's starting to use angles, touching him, turning, punching off the angles. Very good professional moves, nullifying his opponent's offense. And the body shots, digging him in nicely. And I hope they don't take a point out.
Oh, they will. Well, that could be critical in this fight.
That's going to be critical. It didn't look intentional to me, of course.
I mean, at the same time, Kennedy threw a shot that looked like it might have strayed low as well.
Oh, good body shots.
I certainly don't think that Santos was doing it intentionally, but it's put him in a massive hole nonetheless. Now he better hope that those 2 rounds that we thought were definitive for him are scored that way if and when we get to the scorecards.
Exactly.
Minute 10 left here in round 9. That, barring a knockdown, is going to be a Niall Kennedy round. And he can kind of cruise into the 10th. That was a good body shot. That wasn't low. Kennedy winced on that one.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. You very rarely, like I said, I keep saying it, but with 2 big men, especially 2 at one time, digging the body very professionally. I'm very impressed.
Riddick Bowe caliber heavyweight body work here.
Right, the best body puncher in history for a big man, I believe, Riddick Bowe.
These guys paying homage to Big Daddy here. 25 seconds left to go in round 9. Now the referee warning, Santos. Look for a headbutt.
At this point, he should stay off the body because you're not going to stop him probably with a body shot in the 10th round. Lay off the body. Just throw headshots for the rest of the fight. Don't risk it.
Now he's being warned for headbutts too, so is he supposed to stay away from the inside? A tough spot for Santos to be in heading in to the 10th and final round of an extremely close fight.
This has got to be a pivotal round here.
Well, if you're in the corner of Santos, what do? Do you kind of tell him to throw caution to the wind, to tell him, hey, still throw to the body, still try and get in there? It's the final round.
Right. I mean, well, I would say this, more headshots, because the chances of stopping a guy with a body shot in the last round is very unlikely.
We're going to take a look at that point deduction. See how low this goes. I mean, that one didn't even land, but let's see.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget, October 28th, we're right back here at Foxwoods.
Hard to tell. Hard to tell.
To me, nothing has seemed egregious in terms of low blows.
It certainly wasn't really low. You know what I mean? But this is going to be a good round. It's almost a guarantee.
10th and final round. Niall Kennedy and Alexis Santos, both men are going to have to lay it all on the line here in the 10th round because nobody really knows who's ahead on the scorecards. You can make a case for both guys.
That's the thing. Both guys have to, I would recommend both guys fight like they're losing, because one of them is.
No room for error here. No time to let off the pedal. Whatever these big men have left in the tank, they have to empty it here. Now Kennedy pull this one out. And he build that mantelpiece for his new title for no reason. Good jab there from Santos. Again, we're in that 10th and final round. The judges are going to be looking at every little punch. We don't know what the scorecards look like right now, but if it does come down to this 10th and final round, every single punch counts. Every punch matters right now.
No, this is the round of their careers as far as I'm concerned. This is a huge round. you've got to fight like you're losing. Like I say, one of them is, and they've got to both fight like they're desperate.
Minute 20 left.
There you go.
That's a big shot from Santos.
Combination.
Oh, the biggest shot of the fight. Huge right hand. Now Kennedy staggers back. Another right hand
Big
from
shots.
Santos.
Headbutt.
The referee lets it go. That could be a critical moment in this fight. Now Kennedy looking for answers from the referee. He has to stay focused here. Final minute. Santos with a massive opportunity. Kennedy whips an uppercut back. Both men looking for huge shots. Kennedy still reeling. Santos blocks him again. Big left hook. The crowd on his feet. Final 30 seconds of our heavyweight main event. This has turned into the heavyweight slugfest that we promised. 20 seconds remaining. Kennedy digs to the body. Looks like he has his wits about him just enough to make it to the final bell, but Santos wants to change that. Kennedy firing away. The seconds tick away. What a way to close our main event. Well, Niall Kennedy had a real scare in the final round, John, but he managed to stay on his feet. That is toughness.
No, this is brutal. These guys are going to be sore tomorrow. I'll tell you that much. They both showed a lot of heart. They both wanted to win. Niall Kennedy came back from being hurt there and finished somewhat strong compared to what it looked like he was going to finish like. One of the best heavyweight fights I've seen in a while, to be honest with you.
An absolute slugfest in our main event. We'll be back with the decision right after the break. Welcome back inside Foxwoods Resort and Casino. Two heavyweights just went to war for 10 rounds. Alexis Santos and Niall Kennedy. It's too close to call from here at ringside, but the judges have made their decision. Let's send it down to David Diamante with the official decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 10 rounds of action, we go to the judges' scorecards. Bob Paolino, 96-93 for Kennedy. Eddie Scunzio, 96-93 for for Santos. And Judge Dick Flaherty scores this contest 96-93 for your winner by split decision. And the New England heavyweight champion, Niall Boom Boom Kennedy.
So Niall Kennedy, your new champion. He built that mantelpiece for a reason. What a fight this was, 96-93 going both ways. That illustrates just how close this fight was. It was back and forth, so many swing rounds. Could have gone either way, but ultimately it's Niall Kennedy picking up the 9th victory of his professional career and undoubtedly the biggest. Our Iceman, John Scully, is standing by with the winner. The Iceman is with Niall Kennedy.
Tell us what you felt, what happened.
That was, he was an excellent opponent, a gentleman out of the ring as well. That fight was always going to come down to blood and guts. I had my beautiful son in hospital fighting a battle, so I'll fight any battle in this ring against any man. And no one beat me.
The thing that I noticed as a trainer, your body punching. You are an extremely good body puncher. I don't see many big men land to the body as good as you, place their punches as good as you. Where did that come from?
Packy has me hypnotized to do it, so I don't know. I know, look at nothing happened today without months of work. We put 12 hard weeks into this camp. This man, I owe this man everything. He's got me to this position, and we don't know how good we are, because we don't know yet. But I can promise you, it'll take one man with massive balls to stop me.
Well, if the body punching is yours, congratulations, because he's a very good body puncher. Finally, yes.
That was a shot I learned from my trainer, Goody Petronelli, and Freddie Roach, two great Massachusetts people, and I owe them body shots to them. You too, John.
My last question. It was a big win. You were very impressive. You were very impressive. What is your goal for the future? What do you want to do as a boxer?
This man keeps moving the goalposts, and I keep sprinting past the goalposts. So we don't know where we're going to go, but I can tell you one thing: we'll put 100% into it. Ken Casey and Sean Sullivan of Murphy's Boxing, Louis DiBella, I want to thank them for this opportunity. Give me more opportunities and I'll give you more great fights.
Congratulations, Packy. Great performance. Corey, we're going back up to you.
Thank you, John. That is your winner, Niall Kennedy, the new Massachusetts heavyweight champion. Let's take a look at how he did it. Just a tremendous back and forth slugfest with Alexis Santos, but ultimately it was that dedicated body attack that the Iceman was talking about all night long. Those whipping uppercuts and left hooks to the body of Santos ultimately made the difference. For the Iceman John Scully, for Dan Canobio and the rest of our crew, all of our production staff, so long, and we'll see you at the fights.